Good afternoon, guys. How's everyone doing this Sunday afternoon? The weather's a little bit hit and miss, but nevertheless, it's still nice to get their fresh air. It's still nice to be outside. Welcome to my channel, guys. Motocross. Oh, here we go. Look, see the memories going? It used to be called Motocross Mania, but it's now gone back to my name. I reverted back to Joey Barnett TV. Even forgetting my name now. God. But yeah, as you can see, I'll try and spin the camera around and I'll show you where I'm at. Oh, you can't turn the cameras on an iPhone. That's stupid. But you can turn them on a Samsung Galaxy. Tic-tac-toe. 4 in a row. So yeah, I've got my selfie stick on. It's a beautiful, beautiful field, tucked up out of the way so it doesn't get that busy. There's a really good park at the front of here for kids, and there's also a field here for anything. I mean, I think there's even a cafeteria in the middle of it. Yeah, man, these places are free. It's beautiful to be free. It's beautiful to feel the wind in your hair. Although I've got no hair, maybe I should turn into a bit of a comedian. Because for some reason I just come out of these catchphrases what wasn't predicted. But yeah, what a gaff, man. Look at this beautiful park. And the reason why I've come over here is to do my exercises. So this is the park where I do my runs, normally in the mornings, but I've just come over a little bit later because when I woke up it was a little bit grey. So yeah, I've come over a bit later. But this is where I do my runs. This is actually a cricket green. Lovely gaff behind me, look. Little panoramic view. Anyway, guys, that's not the reason why. Oh look, what I've just noticed over there. That's good, isn't it? There's like a football goal. You can see it opposite there. So it's a football goal. Badminton. All sorts of things over here. And what I like to see is cameras. There's cameras up all around this field and in the kiddies park too. Rightly so. Because in today's society you just don't know who's about, what's about, or what's going on really with strangers. But yeah, there's a tennis court over there. See him playing tennis. Anyway, the reason why I'm doing this video is because a few of my loyal followers that have been there since day one of my journey. Sorry, I'm mumbling on a bit. A few of my loyal followers that's been there since day one of my journey always ask me what was the worst condition jowl I was ever in. So when they say condition, they don't mean fighting, argumentative jowl or going off. What they mean is the conditions what you're living in. And for me, just let me sit down. So I'm just about to do a nice run, but I thought I'd give you guys a little viewing of my surroundings. Just bear with me a minute, guys. I'm not used to these selfie sticks, but here we go. That's better. Now I can relax a little bit. God, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good at my age. 57 years of age, got emphysema, but I'll never give up that fight, never give up that fight. Anyway, back onto the video, guys. For me, the worst jowl I went in by far for rough conditions was Dartmoor. Now, I was in Dartmoor when I was on good order and discipline. So when you're on good order and discipline, it's GOAD, means you could have whacked a screw, something pretty serious for the screws not to want you on normal location. I don't like to glamorise crime, prison, drugs or anything like that. I'll just tell you exactly the truth, and it's all from my past experiences. So I've written a book, and most of my stories are in my book. For those that haven't read my book, when I was in Parkhurst, I urinated into a big bucket and basically parked it on a screw's head. And what led up to that was months and months of torment, months and months of like mental torture, what they was doing to me in there. This certain screw in Parkhurst, it was stopping my mail, it wasn't letting my visits through, stopping me going onto the phone, you know, keeping me closed up on association. I just didn't gel with this screw, and from day one of seeing him, we just didn't get on. So as I said, it led months and months and months, and I ended up, because he hurt me so much, and you know, I was doing 12 years, so at the end of the day, what could he do to me? What would affect me anyway? That's what a lot of screws, especially new screws, don't understand. What they should understand is when you mess about with a long-termer, what hasn't got a lot to lose, then you're playing with fire. You can play with people what are doing, you know, short sentences under 5 years, because they just want to get out, and you know, they want to get their parole, they want to get their tag or whatever. But when you're talking about a long-termer like me, and quite a few of my other mates, long-termers, then you need to really tread careful, tread on eggshells, and be nice to people like me, because if you ain't, yeah, it can all go tits up. And that's what happened with this screw. It was months and months and months of torment, and in the end, I urinated in a bucket, defecated in a bucket, squirted it up with baby oil, give it a good squirt in a mop bucket, a metal mop bucket. And he was in the office one morning when we come out, on unlock, I think it's about 8:30, something like that. He was in the office reading a newspaper like he normally did, and I knocked on the door. He said, "Come in," but he didn't see what I had behind my back, and he was still sitting down. He just leant up and I unlocked the door. It was an office where you filled out applications and bits and pieces like that in the morning, so it was an open office. But yeah, I parked the bucket over his head. They broke my wrist and put me down in the segregation unit of Parkhurst, and I was down there for a good part of 6 or 7 months on solitary confinement. You know, no TV, just 4 concrete walls, no window, just an air vent, like a padded cell, yeah. 23.5 hour bang up, and they kept me down there for 7 or 8 months. If that didn't break me, then I don't know what could. But leading on from that, after about 7 or 8 months, they shipped me out, and they sent me to Dartmoor. So I went from the segregation unit of Parkhurst to the segregation unit of Dartmoor. And let me tell you something now, it was in the winter, it was snowing, it was a hazardous winter, and I used to have to sleep, this is no lie, the mattress is like this thin, like a Rizzler paper, on a slab, a concrete slab. No furniture in your cell, apart from a cardboard chair and a cardboard table, what you couldn't arm yourself or anyone else with. So yeah, I was in there, and I'll tell you something now, the wind used to howl down the landing outside my cell. But over night time, I used to have to sleep with 2 tracksuits on. Do you remember the old corned beef tracksuits and the grey tracksuits? I used to have to sleep with 2 of them on and 2 green blankets, and I'd still be shivering. It was absolutely freezing. I didn't want too much of that, so you know, because it was a different jail, the governor come in after about 3 weeks and said, "Look, it's a new jail, it's a new start. Can we trust you by putting you on the landings without you causing havoc?" And I agreed with him, and after a few weeks of that, it was torture. I went onto the landings, but even when I was on the landings, it was freezing cold. A lot of Londoners in there, a lot of old school screws that have been in the system for a long time, knew the score, you know, half decent chaps of their day, there really was, not bullies or anything like that. The screws in there was a bit like Maidstone screws, where they're laid back. They know the score. You know, they didn't mess about with long-termers. So yeah, they put me on the landings in Dartmoor. I was in Dartmoor for probably about a year, and then from there I got shipped out. But yeah, for those that are asking, the worst jail that I've ever been in my life, and that has got to be, yeah, Dartmoor, for them reasons, because it is freezing cold. And going back to the actual place itself, the prison itself, it was historical. So there is no heat. Well, there was a heating what went right through the back wall, a big pipe what they brought on it in the winter. But yeah, it was freezing cold. It was literally like a dungeon, and looking at the outside of it was like something like out of the medieval times. It really was. Anyway guys, I'm going to get this one uploaded. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. I've got so much more content to bring to you guys. I don't never glamorise crime. I don't never glamorise, you know, taking drugs, going to prison. It all ends in tears, and it's a terrible way of life. You know, look at me now, outside, enjoying life, you know, to the full. And these things, what I'm enjoying mostly, are free. They come free. So actually, before I go, I was speaking to someone the other day, one of my friends on Facebook, and he said he's had enough. He's depressed. He's you know, he's having dark thoughts. And I said to him, I said, I'll tell you what, yeah, if you was in jail, stuck behind four walls, shut away from your family, shut away from the outside world, you know, you can't walk in a straight line without anyone telling you to stop. And then, you know, and then you've got a reason to be depressed. But being outside here, you know, how can you be depressed in this world, man? Outside is beautiful, isn't it? Anyway guys, I'll be back at you in a bit. Have a good one.